Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Good afternoon. We've got another offensive coordinator candidate to look at here, although this one might actually be more interesting to people than some of the other guys that I talk about. So, this guy is not somebody I'm talking about because he popped into my head when Kubiak left. This is not somebody that I would say jumps off the page with their resume. This is somebody that I'm talking about because the Seahawks are actually interviewing him. So there is concrete reason to believe we at least have some degree of interest. We're talking about Connor Senger of formerly the Arizona Cardinals. So whatever you want to say, and we're going to look at the resume. It's not going to be super thick. We have interest, at least enough to have him in the building. Now that doesn't mean we're going to hire him, but we're interviewing him. That's more than I can say for a lot of guys. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today. And don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required. Just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. Now, your first instinct might be to assume that this is an interview to satisfy the Rooney Rule. And this tweet from Major Hawks coverage even kind of intimates that. And you might be right. That is definitely a possibility here. We have not interviewed any minority candidates for the position yet. We need to interview two, and Senger is the first. So, okay, it could be just that. If it ends up just being that, I'm not going to be shocked. However, think about the Drew Petzing offense that Senger comes from, because Drew Petzing was the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals. It's all about running the ball and play action. It's all about using heavy tight end sets. It's all about playing from tight sets. It actually kind of sounds like the Kubiak offense, and it kind of sounds like the offense that you want to run with this personnel. So honestly, I kind of see it. But I want to stress I only kind of see it because this resume just doesn't have enough to really get me going. First of all, the guy's 30 years old, and I don't want to be ageist here, but in recent times, we've seen coaches in the NFL get hired, and I look at them, I look at their age, and I'm like, "Hey, that guy's younger than me." And it's kind of weird, right? But it's becoming less weird as time goes by. I'm 36 now. Having the NFL hire a coach in some high position that is younger than me is not that weird. This guy's younger than my younger brother. And I think that crosses the line again. So that's number one. Number two, this guy's only been in the NFL for 4 years, and he spent all of it on a pretty awful Cardinals team. Seems like an offensive coordinator position might be a little too much too fast, but let's take a look at the results. Let's be fair. This most recent season for the 2025 Cardinals, he was the pass game specialist. That was his role on the coaching staff. Now, in 2025, the Cardinals actually had a lot of passing yards. They threw for almost 4,000 yards total, seventh in the league, which is really good. But they did that because they were always playing from behind because they're a terrible team. If you take a look at their dropback EPA, it was actually a little below average, 0.042 EPA per dropback, 20th. So that's not very good. But is that really fair to hold against him when he's got Kyler Murray for half the season and Jacoby Brissett for the other half? Maybe not. The year before, he was the assistant quarterback coach for the Cardinals. And look, Kyler did not have a terrible year. We've seen him play better, but we've definitely seen him play worse. And the Cardinals were not that bad in 2024. They they definitely weren't the team they wanted to be, but they did show signs of growth under Jonathan Gannon, and for a minute there it looked like they actually had something. Kyler threw for almost 3,900 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 picks, 69% completion, uh 93 and a half QB rating, and he ran for almost 600 yards. So it was a pretty good year. Now, we've seen Kyler have years like that before, but it's not a bad feather in the cap for your resume. Now, you go back to 2023, Senger was the offensive quality control coach. Now, that's a pretty obscure role. I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly what those guys do, and I won't pretend I know exactly what this guy did in this situation. The Cardinals this year were very bad, 2023, and their offense was pretty bad. 19 and a half points per game, which was 24th, negative 0.055 EPA per play, which was 22nd. So bad offense, not terrible. And the year before that, he was on the Cardinals staff as part of the Bill Bidwell Coaching Fellowship. I don't know what that is, but according to my research, he was basically an assistant quarterback coach, but he didn't have that exact title. I don't know what the Bill Bidwell Fellowship is, but whatever. Anyway, 2022, you had Kyler Murray having a not so great year. This was the year I believe he got hurt. 2,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 picks, 66% completion, 87.2 rating, and he ran for about 400 yards. So kind of more of a lackluster Kyler year. Not a terrible year. We also had a little bit of Colt McCoy this year. This was, I think, the end of the line for Colt McCoy. Almost 800 yards, 68% completion. I mean, whatever. There's not much to say. He didn't play a ton. But yeah, it's not a resume that jumps off the page. The only thing I can say in his defense would just be I don't think he had great stuff to work with, and the roles he holds are not even that impactful. But that's just to me another reason why maybe a play calling offensive coordinator is just jumping a little too far ahead. Now, he does have some experience from before the Arizona Cardinals, but it was all in college, and it was not at big colleges. The closest thing he had to a big job in college was with the North Dakota State Bisons. And obviously, until this year, they're not playing Division 1A football. They've been in lower divisions until now this upcoming year. So it's not Division 1A football, or at least not, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not like he was coaching for Alabama or LSU or even a team like Vanderbilt. But North Dakota State is very dominant within their league of football, I guess. So 2 years he was an offensive quality control coordinator, so not even like a big role. North Dakota State was an elite team in 2021. They scored over 34 points a game. Year before, they were not so great. This was, I think, the COVID year, 26 points per game, just meh. So I don't really have a ton to say about it. I know that these North Dakota State teams did produce a couple of NFL players, but there were definitely some North Dakota State teams in the last decade that have been more stacked than these two teams. So I will admit that. Now, before North Dakota State, he was coaching a bunch of very small college teams in Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks. He was a running back coach for 1 year. The year before that, he was a Carroll Pioneer quarterback coach. And the year before that, he was a Wisconsin Oshkosh Titans quarterback coach. And that was actually the year that kind of put him on the map because Brett Casper won awards for how good he played for the Titans in 2017. 34 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He was basically the greatest quarterback the Oshkosh Titans have ever seen. I know way more about the Wisconsin Oshkosh Titans than I ever thought I would now, by the way, because I had to look all this stuff up. But that was actually a really good year and a really good accomplishment. And that's kind of other than, I mean, obviously you'd rather have the NFL experience, but in a weird way, what he did in 2017 is actually the most impressive thing in his career. Um, so yeah, I I see where it's coming from. Again, the Drew Petzing offense is actually kind of a good fit for our personnel, in my opinion. I just don't know why you'd go get this guy. It'd be one thing if we went to go get Drew Petzing himself. That I might be able to kind of understand. But if you go get Senger, then you're jumping through too many hoops to land where you want to land. Okay, so let me know what you guys think. Maybe somebody out there can sell it a little bit better than me. There are things that I like here. There are things that I appreciate here, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming soon. Everybody have a good rest of your day.